Okay, welcome everyone to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter study group for June of 2022. Today is the 14th of June. This is our 38th consecutive class. Pardon me, but that's pretty exciting for me. I'm proud of us. We've done really well. Our mission here at the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter is to bridge the gap between industry leaders with business and analysis by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage the Tampa Bay IT community. Those of us who have been in this meeting for a while have heard this, but everybody else, I want you to know, if you're in North Florida or anywhere in the world and you need a chapter to call home, you're welcome to join us. We do cover North Florida geographically, but because we are internet-based, most of the time for our study groups, you can join us no matter where you live. If you have a local chapter, you're welcome to attend our chapter events as well. We have study groups, we have mentoring, we have resume review, we have networking, we have meetings in person. In fact, if you live in the Tampa area, periodically we meet together to clean up a park that we've adopted. This is a list of the ways that you can contact us. We have the BABOK study group every Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time. We have our meetups. We have Zoom online. We have our past meeting recordings. They're highlighted in turquoise. The IIBA website for our chapter is listed. Our own website is listed, which looks like it's the same thing in looking at it now. We also have our meetup, we have Facebook, and we have 2 different LinkedIn groups. If you can't reach us one of those ways, I'll give you another way in just a minute. We have been meeting for quite a while, and as you know, we are run by volunteers. Our chapter is run by volunteers only. We have a new board meeting coming up that we need to vote in new members of our board. Some of our members of our board have been doing this for literally years. We need some fresh blood and some people that will step up to say, I want to be involved, I want to help make decisions. Currently we have Cliff, who is our president, and we have Lori, who is our vice president of finance. Caitlin and Priscilla are our board members that are called members at large, which means they lean in whenever we need help. My name is Thea Raisins, or Thea Tanner Raisins. If you want to reach me, you can reach me through LinkedIn. I am the Vice President of Career and Professional Development for the Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. I've been doing this for 10 years now and leading study groups very much of that time. Tiffany Gardner is my cohort in crime. She occasionally leans in to help me lead these study groups. But the star of the show is Bob Churchill. Bob has passed his CBAP certification with the IIBA. He has also passed a whole bunch of other certifications, which give him a plethora of letters after his name. But what I like best is that Bob not only has these letters and he's accomplished this, but he also shares. If you'll go to his website here, which is the r.p.churchill, which is rpchurchill.com, it's his website. He has a wealth of information there, not only for business analysis, but project management, mechanical engineering, Lean, Six Sigma, all kinds of things. He's also very responsive to email if you'd like to ask him a question, or even if you have a suggestion on an improvement in one of his articles or blogs or diagrams. He has turned the profession of business analysis into these perfect diagrams that explain iterations. They explain the different stages. They explain how things are connected through a project. I encourage you to reach out and see what he has. We have been meeting, as I said, for 38 consecutive weeks. If you want to look at the recordings of the classes, here's our first 17 classes. We went through the chapters in the BABOK 1 through 8, and these are test questions from Watermark Learning that we actually went through a test question or sample test question, looked at the answers, tried to figure out which answer couldn't it be right? So that left us 3 answers to look at. And we talked through why we thought one answer was better than the other. And sometimes we were wrong. You can see the scores are not stellar, but in the conversation that we had during these meetings, you learn a lot. So I encourage you, if you're studying through the BABOK to pass the certification, listen in on some of these and follow the logic and read the chapters before and after that you're in these classes or in these recordings. The reason is because you're going to learn more from the conversation that we had than just reading it on your own. Okay. We had a guest speaker that was going to join us today. I need to see if he is online. I don't see him. Okay, so in that case, if he comes online, maybe he'll speak up. Until then, I'd like to ask y'all, would you like for me to go through how to use LinkedIn to best advance your career, or is there another topic you would like to hear about?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. I think that's a good start. Yeah, especially some of us who haven't touched our profiles in a while.
Great. So tell me if you can see my screen. I currently have the BABOK here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to switch over to LinkedIn. As you can see, I've got a shortcut in my bar up here. I go to LinkedIn almost daily. Let me explain what LinkedIn is for those of you who have never used it or haven't used it in a very long time. LinkedIn is a professional networking tool. Some people say it's the Facebook of professionals. What we are able to do here is find people that have similar interests, are in companies we are interested in, have professions we're interested in. There's education through LinkedIn, all kinds of things. So I'm going to go through just a few things here on the page. This is the landing page that you see on LinkedIn. Here is your information. You can click on this and go to your profile. You can click up here and go to your profile, either one, or you can write a post. If you write a post, you can also attach a photo, a video, create an event, or write an article. As you scroll, I'm sorry, let me go over here. LinkedIn News, I'm able to tell it what things I'm interested in here. So it kind of gives me things that are topics I'm interested in. Promoted, these people have paid for this block, I pretty much ignore it. I also am in the author, originator of Disciples of Gaming virtual reality games. It's a company in Kansas City. I'll be glad to tell you about that offline if you want me to, but they do good things that help people. So let's just scroll down just a little bit. You're going to see things that look very similar to Facebook on here. You can respond to this article by giving it one of these responses. This is like, celebrate, support, love, insightful, or curious. Very often, if you click on one of these, it's going to pop up with this thing below it that says, tell us why you said that. Why do you think it's curious or whatever? Otherwise, you can click on comment and not only see a place to put your comment, and you can put emoticons as well as a picture. And scrolling down just a little bit more, you can see other people's comments. So scrolling down just a bit more, here is, you can see that this is one of my contacts, or 2 of my contacts have followed this company. Doesn't mean I need to, but it's a suggestion. Here's another one. Somebody that I know have liked this. So as you can see, it's very similar to LinkedIn. So what I'd like to do is say that in your network, let's go to my network. In your network, you have people that you follow. It's very similar to LinkedIn, to Facebook in that way. What you're going to do basically is say, I want to see updates from these people, or I don't want to see updates from these people, but I want to be connected to them. So whenever I have people that I'm connected to, they put something on LinkedIn, I'm able to see it and interact with them. As you can see, I've got a good number of connections. I was a little bit proud of my number of connections until Cliff told me he's got like 50,000 or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm not doing really great. People I follow, there's 404 people I follow. I have to select the people I follow. So it's not something that's forced on me. So I'm able to find people that have, that do things that I find interesting. They belong to companies that I'm interested in or something like that. And that's how I identify the people I follow. Groups, I think groups are very important. As a business analyst, I have chosen to join quite a number of groups. And you can, I don't know that there's a limit of number of groups that you can join. I am currently in a data governance role at KPMG. And because of that, I wanted to learn more about data governance. So joining the groups means that I'm going to see posts from their group on my feed. Then, of course, there's people I like. There's things that I want to find out more about. And you can unjoin or unfollow these groups at any time. So here's, let me back up and go to one more place first. Events. Events are going to tell you things that are similar to what you've already expressed interest in. So here are online events. So no matter where in the world you are, and typically no matter if you belong to their group or not, you can listen in or participate in these events. So this is going to give you suggestions for events that are either similar to things that you have participated in the past or are similar or suggest suggestions. You can create your own event. If you're going to start monetizing LinkedIn, Facebook, any of the other social platforms, this is what you would want to be doing. Okay, pages, newsletters, hashtags, these are just other ways to find things. So let me go to something, let me go to one of my groups. So let's say that I'm interested in, say, data governance. I want you to see that I have data quality and data governance. I have a whole bunch of different groups here that I belong to. Something that you need to be aware of whenever you join a group is how many members do they have, how active are they, and what part of the world are they in. If you're joining a group because you want to network, you need to figure out, do you want it to be a group that you're close to? Do you want it to be a group that has members in a company that you're interested in? Do you want it to be a group that's just based on a topic that you're interested in learning more about? So you'll see that all of these have over 1,000 members, which typically means it's going to be more active. Let's go to Data Governance Professional Organization. This doesn't require me to have letters after my name or have a certain years of experience in it or anything like that. It just requires me to be interested. So let's say that I wanted a job in data governance and I want a job with a specific company. Well, that's not good. It says page not responding. I'm going to exit and see if it doesn't kick me out. Oh, good. It's all in Microsoft Edge. Let's try that again. Okay, let's do it with my other browser.
Maybe Microsoft Edge is being sympathetic, IE is going away tomorrow.
Ah, that could be it. Okay. While one of these come up, let me talk about strategies in either advancing your career. It's having a problem. Try coming back to it later. That's interesting. So in advancing your career or getting a job in a specific company, so you're focusing on two different things. One is I need a job. The other one is I want to grow in my career so that I can get to the level or get a specific job that I want, and I don't really need a job right now. Either way, I would suggest that you spend 15 minutes every morning walking through your feed and see who's posted things. See, Carl Helm is a finance professional, and we have 91 shared connections. He and I have a lot of things in common. That's interesting. So I may message him and just say, I saw your comment on this and I thought it was very insightful. you can look at one of these and you can say, you know, what they said was great. I especially like this point, and comment on it. I would suggest you find 5 to 10 people that you comment pretty regularly on their items, so that whenever they see you, they go, oh yeah, I know them, because it almost creates a relationship. It's the closest thing we have to a relationship in the virtual world. You'll find that you start exchanging messages outside of these comments. This is a gentleman that was in one of my past classes, and now he has gone on to do bigger and better things. So you create these relationships, and what it does is it ends up giving you opportunities that you wouldn't have otherwise. I have, because I've created relationships, and I also offer, you know, what can I do to help you? Can I introduce you to anybody? Can I, whatever. People get to know me. I volunteer for organizations. People get to know me. And whenever they hear about a position, they think, you know what? I know somebody who does that. Thea can do that. Or Thea knows somebody who can do that. Or Thea knows everybody. Let me call Thea and see if she can help me find somebody. So recruiters love it whenever you can help them find somebody. People that are trying to fill positions love it whenever you can help them find somebody. And then if you're looking for a position, I'm one of the kind of people, I'm a connector. And so I can help you get to somebody in the company you're looking for. So let's go to, that's a strategy of how to handle LinkedIn. Let's talk about handling your own profile. Let's look at mine, just because that's what I have to show y'all guys. I created this background using a word jumble online app, and I put in words that apply to me, but I knew that would catch people's attention if they were looking for somebody that applied to me. Here's a picture that is not necessarily professional, but it shows pretty much who I am in a good light. If you have a picture, you're probably 40% more likely to get interest. So recruiters use LinkedIn hugely to find people using keyword searches. And then whenever they see this, they're like, oh, she's a real person. You know, she's not cardboard. She's not fake. She's real. This is a current title that I do carry, but it's not the only title I carry. But the title that I put here intentionally to be able to attract this level of position, because if I put that I'm a data analyst at KPMG, they're going to say, well, she's not director level, and that's where I want to get to, is director level. You'll notice I have my maiden name here, just because sometimes people know me by my maiden name instead of my married name. I also have a happy face emoticon here. I've had people actually ask me if that was a Japanese or Chinese character, but my smile is a thing people remember, so I put it in there. CSPO is one of the letters that I can put after my name legitimately. I'm a certified Scrum product owner. I took a weekend class, guys. It taught me a lot. I got the CSPO, but it was a weekend class, and I got 4 letters after my name. Lion is LinkedIn open to networking, which basically means if you send me a networking request, I'm probably going to say yes. If you do a search for Lion in the search, you're going to get hundreds of people. So if your goal is to do nothing more than enlarge your network, you can do it that way. I don't encourage that though, because what you want to do is create relationships. I do that as more of a try to link with me, and if we have something in common, if I can help you, if we're in the same industry, I'm happy to. It helps me promote my network. Open to work here, you are able to identify this to everybody, and you're able to tell them what your job titles are that you're interested in, where you're wanting to be. If it's not remote, you can say a specific place. You have a drop-down list of start dates, and you have job types. And so I chose full-time contract. Only recruiters can see this. I don't necessarily want my current employer to know this. So if they have the title recruiter, they're going to be able to see that. Providing services. These are things that I am happy to do for people. And let's see, where is this at? Edit page. So these are things that I'm able to do. You can add services. You can put a commercial blurb about yourself, and then you can put your locations, and it just kind of opens you up. If people are looking for, I need somebody to provide services, you've got your commercial right there. It's free. Well, further back, let's go back to my profile. So that's just this is just what you see whenever you originally look at my page. They also have suggested for you, which is suggestions that LinkedIn provides for you about ways to improve your profile, which is kind of nice, but kind of invasive at the same time. Here's your analytics. You can see who is looking at you. This is 380 profile views, and it's, look at this, 29 of them work at Jack Henry and Associates, 11 work at Bass Pro. They probably found me because Bass Pro is headquartered here where I live. So if they're looking for a business analyst skill and local to the area, they would find me. 6 of them work at Next Level Solutions. I think that's local to me as well. And then through LinkedIn search. And then look at this. These are all people that have looked at me, and I can easily say, she looked at me, she wants to connect, I can easily connect. And then you can go down, this person looked at me 3 hours ago, I can send them a message and say, hey, how are you doing? We're first level connections. What can I do to help you? That type of thing. So we have message because we are related. Anybody have any questions so far?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Whenever whether or not one is in the market or not, I imagine you're going to say yes, especially if it's a recruiter. If you're getting invitations to connect, would you suggest just accepting them? I mean, being mindful, of course, but
always being mindful, first of all, for your safety. Yes. Secondly, if there are ways to hack your machine that I don't even know about yet, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But if I'm wary, just instinctively wary of people from China, India, and some of the Gulf states. It doesn't mean that any of them are bad, but I double check them. I want to know that they're in an industry that's related to mine, or that they have a real LinkedIn profile that they're real people. I've been propositioned on here more times than I can tell you, but it's not half as bad as like Facebook. So there are more professionals on here. I wouldn't accept everybody just because they connect to you.
I'm slow to connect. I mean, that's why, when you had made the suggestion to go through LinkedIn, I'm slow to connect and build. So to your point, I'm trying to build relationships, and I rather take my time rather than just connect to the world and, all of that simply because they found me. So yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah.
Just because they can find you doesn't mean that they're worthy of being your connection.
Correct.
You get to curate the people in your life, and LinkedIn is one of the ways you have control over it.
Okay.
You're able to add featured content here. This is a podcast that I was interviewed in. Fortunately, it came out pretty good. It kind of gives a good representation of who I am. So if you're a recruiter, you're kind of looking at this and you go, oh, wait, there's a podcast. Maybe they'll listen to it and go, yeah, that's the person I'd like to talk to. If that's the deciding factor, I'm going to put it up there. You're going to see my activity here. You saw how many connections I have. This is how many people that have chosen to follow me. These are things that I've shared. I very often share things that people have posted that I think is really, really good. And you can see the results on this one. I've got 13 responses just with emoticons. And all I said was worth the read. It just really touched me. I try to repost our announcements of our study groups, and, you know, of course, something else that touched me. Apparently I'm touched a lot. Okay, my about. This is my commercial that tells what I can do. This part on down needs to be as close to your resume as possible, because anything that's, you know, it's on your resume but not on LinkedIn, or it's on LinkedIn but not on your resume, there are some recruiters that are cynical enough to say, I think they're lying. So I've updated my resume since I've done this. I need to update this to kind of match it. If it's good enough for your resume, it's good enough for LinkedIn. So you kind of have to be thinking about both of them as you're writing your resume. Your experience, it's very important that you're accurate on your experience, not only for representing yourself honestly, but I have had government contracts. I worked at a nuclear power plant, and I had to explain, I worked here from this date to this date here. This was my boss. I mean, all kinds of stuff to go through security clearance. If I hadn't put it on LinkedIn, I wouldn't have gotten, you know, I would have forgotten things. So that's really super important. Ironically, it will provide the icon for the company if the company is in LinkedIn. If it is not in LinkedIn, for instance, Solutions Point does not have an icon in LinkedIn, so it kind of gives it a generic one. Here's another one, it's generic. So it's fancy or it's not, depending on how big the company is. Okay, education. Places that you've gotten education from, put as much information in here as you want to. If it's a college or high school, I encourage you not to put years, because that identifies you by age, and there's age discrimination whether we like it or not. So put in there what you studied, put in there your GPA if you're proud of it, and otherwise don't put in the other stuff. I have a habit of putting.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
So what about high school years? Like, should I put my high school year?
You can put your high school location if it is not in a lower demographic area. Otherwise, I wouldn't put it.
So you wouldn't
If
put
you
the
have
year?
college, no, don't put the year.
Oh, that's a good idea.
If you have college, forget about your high school. Nobody cares about your high school once you have college. It's only if you don't have any college that people care that you have a high school diploma.
Oh, I see. So what about the years for your college? Like the years
If
for
you
your
are
college?
if you're a recent graduate, in your case, yes, go ahead and put it. But for people that graduated 20, 30 years ago, don't put it. It doesn't matter. And if it does matter, it could be a problem that it matters.
That's true. That makes sense.
Okay. I try to put books and courses of things that I'm reading that I feel are valuable, that I either want to be able to say, hey, I want to tell you about a book, but I forgot the name, and so I can go here and get it. It's just a really good way for people to say, okay, she's well-rounded. It's not just really flat. Your licenses and certifications, put them all in here. I don't care if you have a pharmacy tech certification that lapsed and you never did anything with it, put your pharmacy tech certification in here, or anything else. If it required your time, effort, attention, and it's something that someone would find impressive or be able to find you by keyword, put it in here. You're not putting it in here to be able to necessarily get a job in that field. You're putting it in here to catch people's attention. And then volunteering. Oh, so sorry. Click happy. Volunteering, put that information in here too. There are things that I've done that, thank goodness, I put it in LinkedIn, or I wouldn't be able to remember when I did it, who I was talking to, you know, stuff like that. For instance, I created an IGDA chapter in Kansas City because I had too many people in Kansas City that their byline was a game developer, but we didn't have an IGDA in Kansas City, so people didn't think we had professional game developers in Kansas City. And I would look at their LinkedIn profile as a game developer, and they didn't have any game development experience or jobs or anything. So that tells me that they're a game developer wannabe or student. So that means one of two things. They're either in their mother's basement developing games, or they're a struggling young startup trying to develop games. So I created the chapter, and I told them I wanted them to vote me out in 6 months, and I taught them how to run a chapter, and they're still going strong. So that one I'm a little proud of. Okay, skills. You've got 50 skills maximum that you can put in here. Here's the deal. Not only will you put your skills in here, and you need to have them to be skills of jobs that you either currently have or want to have, that you have some level, even minor skill at it, so that whenever people do searches for that skill, someone with that skill, they can find you, but then people will endorse you for that skill. So business analysis, I've got 14 people who are highly skilled at this. They have already been endorsed. Rich Larson is one of the founders of Watermark Learning. He endorsed me. And then here's 2 colleagues at a company that I worked for. And then there's 99 plus other endorsements for this skill. So if a recruiter were to look for someone with business analysis and they go, oh, wait a minute, there's people I recognize that have endorsed her. She must really have it. And then they're going to say, well, what other skills does she have? Now, there are people that they'll say, if you endorse me, I'll endorse you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you both are good at it and you both sincerely deserve the endorsement, go for it. However, this is not a card game. The moment that you endorse somebody just because you want them to endorse you for something that they do not earn your endorsement for, you have discredited and dropped the value of this system. Please don't endorse people just because they ask you.
It is now 7:30. The library will close in 30 minutes. All printing
You might want to go on mute.
must be finished by 7:55.
Let's talk about the skills that you might see in this particular thing. There's skills quizzes, and for business analysis, I would consider that you would put business analysis, business process improvement, requirements gathering, and then from there, I would suggest that you go to, this is my current job and these are my current skills, and then this is the next job that I want, and look at keywords. And if you have any skill in those, put those skills in here. You'll notice that I've got requirements gathering and requirements analysis, or analysis, because sometimes they will look for one and not the other, depending on the job title or the job skills that are listed on that. One of the things I chose to do is identify vendor management, because I was working with outside companies, and vendor management is one of those steps between I'm working with my group and I'm managing people. So it's kind of a good transition of, I can manage people's relationship that are not in my group, and then I can manage people that are in my group and outside of my group. Anybody have any questions about skills that you're interested in putting in your profile? You can also take these out at any time, even if you have endorsements, and put in something else. You'll see I've got 5 endorsements, 11 endorsements, 6 endorsements. Ooh, Microsoft Word, I've got 1 endorsement. I've tested at expert level in Microsoft Word. Your number of endorsements don't tell anybody really what your skill is, but it does tell them that you have listed it as something that you're skillful of. Okay, now let's talk about applying for jobs. How many of y'all, I can't see your screen right now, so I want you to verbally tell me, how many of y'all have looked in LinkedIn for jobs?
Well, I'm right now, I'm job hunting, and then I really like LinkedIn. Actually, it has, like, when you click on jobs, it gives you so many opportunities. I mean, it gives you so many options how to apply. They have remote only, on-site, different locations, and it's very it's fast-paced. It doesn't take that long. And there's also assessments you can take. I've taken those assessments, and then they can be tedious, but they're helpful.
Very good, Ben-Hur. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, I've started, Thea, this is Bonnie. I've started utilizing.
Excellent.
LinkedIn. Yes.
Okay. I tell you what, let's talk about product owner. Product owner. Product owner is very similar to business analyst. You got a little bit more responsibility. You get to guide the project a little bit more instead of just gathering information and let somebody else make the decision. And you also have some PM responsibilities that you wouldn't have as a business analyst. So I'm going to put product owner in here, and well, goodness, I hit wrong place on the thing. So once again, product owner. Let's just click on it. Okay, so this is going to give me all the product owner positions all over the world. I'm sorry, this is giving me all of the United States. So I can do a couple of things here. Here is date posted. I would encourage you that if you're sincerely looking for a current position, you at least go in the past month. If you want to, you can do the past 24 hours. You'll see that there's over 5,000 results. I try to do the past month or the past week just because I know that these are not stagnant. They haven't been out there 6 months and nobody's looking at them. Then in experience level, if you have experience with the position that you're asking for, I would always check associate and mid-senior level, because in some companies, they may not have what they call mid-senior. They may call everybody associates. So you have to think about what do different companies call their people. If you want to, go ahead and do, director, just to kind of give you a range. If you have a specific company you're interested in, this is where you can put it. And if you don't see it listed here at the top, let's do Target. Not that I really love Target, it's a company that wasn't on the list. So I've narrowed it down to Target. I'm down to 6 results. Job type, only giving me full-time because that's all that Target has. If I had not chosen a company, it would give me all the options that are available. This is telling me that they've got on-site, hybrid, and remote. I only want remote because I live in a place that there's not a lot of big industry. I'm down to 4 results. Easy apply is kind of a challenge to me. Easy apply says that they have a thing, all you have to do is hit a button here for if it were an easy apply, and it would automatically provide your profile to the job poster. Now, what that does is it means that you are suddenly, for that job, suddenly in competition with 10 to 100 times as many people as if you don't do easy apply. So these jobs that are not easy apply, you know that they're not getting as many people competing with you for that position. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's look at these. Yes.
So like some jobs I apply, right, they require assessments, right?
Mhm.
What is your opinion on assessments? I'm not a fan of assessments. I don't believe they reflect the true ability of what you know if you qualify. So why do companies use assessments nowadays? I see like every company's using, like a lot of companies are using assessments.
Well, let's think about it from the recruiter's perspective.
Yeah, Indeed is full of assessments. It's annoying.
It's very annoying.
Okay,
I hate
well,
assessments.
I do too.
But think about it from the recruiter's perspective. They know that they are going to get applicants. That's not a problem. They can get applicants, and it's easy for them to get applicants. They want applicants who want the job bad enough to be able to jump through the hoops, to spend the time to create the cover letter, to do whatever they are saying needs to be done to apply for this job, which means you're more serious, because think about what recruiters have to go through. If they are able to identify the applicant, contact them, make the appointment for the initial screening. Then after the initial screening, there's a follow-up interview that's going to be, 2 or 3 days later. And then 2 or 3 days later, there's an interview with the hiring manager. And then there is a background check. You've gone through 2 weeks of working actively working with that one applicant, within 2 or 3 weeks, that applicant could be getting another job offer. You have basically wasted your time. But if that applicant has gone through some hoops, not only emotionally are they more invested in, I've done all this work for them, I really want to work for them, that the chances of them not taking another job offer, if you're showing interest, is much higher. They might stay around longer to be able to take the job that you're going to be offering them. I realize it's a pain in the rear, but what you got to do is realize the perspective of the people that are asking for these things and why they might be asking for these things. Now, assessments are good at eliminating people who don't have the skills that they deem appropriate for the job. At the same time, assessments are not good at really showing if you have those skills. So it's kind of a 50% of the people that make it through the assessment really do have the skill if the assessment is decent. Otherwise, they have Google open on the other screen and they're just answering the questions based on their Google searches. But if you go through the effort of going through the assessment, it just shows that you're more invested and you're more interested. It's kind of like whenever you walk into the interview and your body language says you're engaged, your eye contact, you're leaning forward, you're putting both hands on the table, all of that says, I'm engaged, I want this job, I want to work with you. Very different than somebody that walks in and sits back in the chair and just kind of looks at you. You know, it gives them a different feeling about you, and it gives them a different reason to consider you for the position. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot more sense. I mean, I just hate assessments, but I do them and now I'm getting used to them now. Now it's like normal. It's normal. I just do them. I do it without for like it or not. And I failed a lot of them, so it is what it is.
Well, you know what? Taking an assessment and failing it, you learn something. Even if it's, if it's how to take an assessment better. But I understand they are a pain. They're inconvenience. Honestly, if you can find a company that you're interested in working for and start networking with people in that company, it seems to work better. So I chose Target, not because I want to work there, but because I worked there once and it was easy. So let's look at these positions. Here's a senior product manager, which typically means that I would need product manager experience, which I do have. They want owned brand reporting and insights, project portfolio management, full-time, remote, or hybrid, which means it qualifies for remote, which is what I'm looking for. They want own brand, which means it's a brand that Target owns, and they want reporting and insights, which probably means business intelligence. So all of those things are interesting to me. So I would go ahead and click on this to get deeper into it to see what they have. Now let's look at this. This is the one I'm interested in. Look at this. I've got 3 connections that work at Target and they don't even show up on this one up here. I don't know why it does that, but it's not a problem for me to click on this and see these are the first connections that I have that work for Target, or at least it says that they work for Target. This one says open to opportunities. This one is local to me here in Springfield. And if I wanted to get in with Target, I would probably ask her if she had time for lunch and take her to lunch, because this is creating a relationship with somebody face-to-face that can provide either an introduction, insight, or maybe even inside track to how to best get a position with this company. Now, let me talk about, she is a local person to me, which means she works at the store level. That position I was talking about is probably at the corporate level. She might know how to get a job at the corporate level, or it may be totally outside of her area, but it's worth my time to take the chance if that is the company I want to work for. Who in here has a company that you're interested in working for? Anybody?
Deloitte.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Deloitte.
That one right there. So you're talking about one of the big 4. Why only Deloitte? Why not KPMG, Deloitte, and the other 2?
It doesn't matter.
It is now 7:45.
Okay.
The library
Okay,
will
so
close at
with
15
Deloitte, I personally have 37 connections. So I'm looking at people here, not jobs. So if I wanted to get a job at Deloitte, I would reach out to each one of these and say, good morning. I saw that you are currently with Deloitte and I'm interested in a position, and tell them the name of the position, if there's a job number or whatever for that position. Give them all that information because they can look at it from a perspective we can't look at from outside the company. And ask them, can you give me more insight into who you can talk to learn more about the position, or who the hiring manager is, or anything like that. And then always, as always, offer, if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I'm, happy to help in anything I can do. So
I
I've
have
got
a
people that,
sorry, I have a question.
yes.
So you said that you would connect with someone and who would tell you about the position, but isn't the position job description and all those details are mentioned in a job posting? Say suppose if Deloitte is posting a particular job that you're interested in, you would get all
very
those
often,
details.
very often it won't. Here, let's choose this one right here. Programs manager. We know that the company is called Mayday Space, Brooklyn, New York. You have to work on site. Here's the salary. They only have a few employees. You don't know who the hiring manager is. You don't know what division of this company, if it is a division. You know that it's Brooklyn, New York, but you don't know, if you live in New York City, you know that Brooklyn is huge, and you might many people in New York City.
Would a hiring manager from a company like Deloitte entertain your request? I mean, they have thousands of people who would want a job in Deloitte. So why would they entertain your request for more details on a job? So I'm kind of confused with that thing. Like if I'm an HR and I'm getting solicited requests and messages on LinkedIn, I would not care to reply those because, I have other work to do.
Okay, so let's say you're a hiring manager and you've received 40 applications, and they're sitting, and let's say they're on paper, okay? They're sitting on your desk, and you say, I've got a job to do, and I'm supposed to go through those 40 applications. And of those 40 applications, of those 40 applicants, 2 people reach out to you on LinkedIn and they say, I applied for the position. I feel that I'm qualified and I'm very interested in learning more about next steps. Would those 2 people stand out to you more than the other 38?
No, wouldn't I say the same thing in my cover letter for that application if I'm interested in that position?
Yes,
that's the whole purpose
so do
of a cover
the
letter, right?
The other 38 people said the same thing. I haven't even looked at the pile, but 2 people reached out to me. 2 people were interested enough to take extra effort to reach out.
So as an HR, I would put more weightage to those 2 people who reached out to me on LinkedIn and then ignore the other 40 or 38. That doesn't sound doesn't sound right to me.
You might be a little more curious about them.
So Thea, your point is doing something out of the ordinary, a little bit, taking the extra effort towards, an interesting job.
Trust me, I've done that and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter with big fish. Like if I'm talking about a company like Mayday Space, then it's a different thing. But if you're talking about companies like Deloitte or, Big Four or any other big tech companies, those HR don't care about
Maybe not, but like Thea, I mean, if you don't mind, Thea, just for me to say, I had a previous, I worked for RBS, as a consultant. My reporting manager had worked for Deloitte. And so I had such a really great relationship with him, and then he left and went somewhere else. But, during the time that I worked for him, the fact that we had developed such a great relationship, And I did learn that he worked at Deloitte. And for example, I was interested once upon a time as well. And without even asking, he said, hey, if you're, if you need to, use my name as a reference, he said, feel free. So to Thea's point, if I dropped a message to one of these, individuals and said, asking, okay, I see that there's a position. I wanted to learn a little bit more about the position. Oh, and by the way, depending on, again, location, if it's localized, to Thea's point, oh, a friend of mine, Dave, whoever, X worked there, and he had a really wonderful experience, and whatever. And it's possible that the person could say, oh yeah, actually I know Dave, or when did he work at Deloitte, and what division did he work in, and things like that. So there are possibilities there, just by virtue of reaching out, because you never know. And sometimes when I'm able to make that connection, I'm not a person, I don't care that they're a Big Four, because I don't have anything to lose by reaching out.
Right. Okay. So let me thank you so much. And I was talking to my boss at KPMG, which is a peer of Deloitte. He said today that one of the reasons that we got the new lead that we got is he used to work with her, and they had a great working relationship. And whenever he needed somebody, he reached out to her to see if she was available. Another person that he hired into our group, he was in a class that she was in the next class over, and the classes had done some presentations to each other, and he saw her in action. She wasn't even in his class, but he thought enough of her experience and performance, and she presented herself, that he reached out to her on LinkedIn and said, if you ever are interested in a position, let me know. Relationships get jobs a lot faster than applications get jobs. You can put all of the keywords on your application, but if somebody looks at that and goes, it doesn't excite me, they're going to put it aside. But if they get a call from somebody that says, hey, John, I know that you're hiring for this position, and I have somebody who'd be perfect for it. I think she's already applied. Her name is Jane Smith. Please look at her resume for me and let me know what you think. They're going to look at Jane Smith's resume. They're going to consider her more than they would the people that didn't have anything out of the ordinary. I also know that there are people that have preferences. For instance, I know that there are companies, they literally have a unwritten policy, and it has to be unwritten because of all of the discrimination rules. They have an unwritten policy that if you have military experience, if you are a Boy Scout, Eagle Scout, or have been in law enforcement, they will put you in a totally different stack to consider before they'll consider anybody that's not in that stack. And it's different for different companies, but you might have the thing that they want. Please put your experience on your resume of other activities. If you have your Eagle Scout, now that Boy Scouts of America offer the Venture Scouts, the Eagle Scout, which they're girls getting Eagle Scouts, go for it, man. Venturing, incidentally, is a product that Boy Scouts have created for people 14 to 21, and it's all about teaching leadership. So if your kids are interested in learning leadership, I encourage you to be very active, but I also encourage you to consider it, okay? So let's look at this one. Jobs in the past month with experience level of a director mid-senior level, PricewaterhouseCoopers, remote. Let me see. On-site, remote, 34,000 results, guys. I can guarantee there's something in here that you qualify for if you just use your filters properly. And then easily reset your filters if you want to just eliminate them all and go from there. Now, it does keep a record of kind of what you've searched for in the past. And if you want to, you can search for a job and create an alert. You've got set alert here. So it will send you an email, I think every day. you might be able to configure your alert that will let you know what the current jobs that have just posted are. So I encourage you to not only look at the jobs, look at the keywords that are in here, find a couple of jobs that are, I want these 3 jobs, they're kind of similar, and figure out what the keywords are. And then if those keywords are honest for your own experience, put them in your resume and in your profile, because people do searches for keywords. Also, if you find people, if I'm going to go back to my profile, it makes sense to me that people also viewed, these people are similar to me in some way. If I go to their profiles, here's a consultant at Tech Systems. I don't know this person. We're second level contacts, which means he's in either a group of mine or he and I have mutual connections. You can see we have 22. I'm going to look at his profile and say, is he doing something that I like that I could use on my profile? Is his about section say something better than I say it? I would say your about section needs 2 sentences. Well, I guess I just, here it is. Your about section needs to be 2 sentences because people aren't going to read a whole lot. Remember, whenever you're looking for somebody as a recruiter, you have about 7 seconds to make a decision, either to put it in the keep or throwaway pile. One more thing, I only have 4 minutes left. Let's talk about the computer filters. Some companies use computers to search for keywords in their incoming applications. Now, they can set these filters to be very strict or very lax. So if they're having trouble finding somebody for a specific role, they may make it less strict than they had previously. They've got to have these 5 keywords. They've got to have experience in 3 companies. I don't want them to have been contractors so that it looks like they're job hopping. They have all kinds of filters that they can put on those. Those systems have trouble reading tables. So if you can put don't put tables in your resume if you are trying to figure out how to structure your resume. So you basically have 3 audiences for your resume and for your application. You've got the potential of them using a computer. You got after that, they're going to go to a HR person to say, okay, these people made it through. Let me see what I think. And if it passes them, you've got real people. That's going to be the hiring manager, the hiring team, the people who are actually going to do the interview for you. So you have to write your resume thinking about all 3 groups, all 3 audiences. And let's talk about structuring your resume. Your resume should never say have your street address on it. You can have your city and state on it. I would not put your street address on it because demographics will sometimes work against you. If you live in an area that's lower income or known for crime or whatever, they can actually say, I don't want anybody that's like that, because people are very narrow-minded. Don't give them that ammunition. Give them ways to contact you, name it at the top, give them ways to contact you immediately underneath that. I encourage you to use 1 email that's professional and your phone number. And if you have a LinkedIn profile that you're proud of, put that up there too, so that they can click on that if they want to do more research. Don't need to put your picture on your resume. If they want to Google you, they can Google you. Then the title that you put on it, your position title, needs to be the title you're going for, not necessarily the title you currently have. Then you need an About Me section. It needs to be about 2 sentences. This is what I'm looking for. I want to focus in this particular area. I'm looking, let me just show you my resume. Fast file. Quick access. Here's my resume. I can't tell you mine's perfect, but it's been effective. Come on. So you've got your 2 sentences that basically let you laser target to the position that you're looking for. You're not going to be telling them about yourself. in that 2 sentences. You're telling them what you're seeking. And then if you have job experience that relates to the position that you're looking for, you're going to, did it open? Then you're going to put the job experience immediately there. If you do not have job experience, but you have training about that relates to the position you're looking for, you put your training next. So typically you're going to do job experience, starting with your most recent position and going backwards. And if you have positions that don't relate to the job that you're trying to get, you can be very vague with those, but I don't encourage you to have big gaps if you can help it. With COVID, ironically, having gaps doesn't seem to be such a problem anymore. If you have a gap because you stopped to take care of a loved one or you raise children, that's easily understood and usually accepted. So don't think that that's going to knock you out of anything. You learned skills while you were doing those things, and you demonstrated strengths while you were doing those things that are beneficial for employers. Well, guys, you've seen me. I've tried several times to open it. I'm just not getting it opened. So let me try one more time. So if you start with your employment, don't forget to do your training or your extracurricular at the end. At the end of mine, I actually have my Myers-Briggs identification because that's who I am. If they want to know who I am, that's exactly what I would show them. Oh, well, here it is. I don't know why it's opening.
Sorry
this
to
way.
interrupt, but like what I've done is
Go
like,
ahead.
what I've worked on is like sorry, what's that? This is my echo? But anyways, what I've worked on is like I make sure like I keep my, like I make sure what I post on social media and what I share, the content, on LinkedIn and like anything on the internet, like I make sure, I keep my life private because people like really do research on you. Like what you reiterate, like don't put, like what you said, don't put your address on there because you don't want to give them, too much information about you. You want them to be, you want them to be inquisitive. And then that's what I'm working on. Like, and before I was very open. I used to post a lot of knowledge, a lot of content. But now I'm basically like what I put myself, like what I put out there on a social media platform. It could be on LinkedIn, on even Facebook, on any personal stuff. So that's very important. Like, that's very important.
Very good point, Ben-Hur. I've had people do searches on people they were potentially interested in interviewing and go, oh no, this guy's talking about 420 friendly and all kinds of stuff. They get to make decisions based upon what you show them and their assumptions about what you've provided for them. So here's a weird view of my resume, but this is what I have. Here's my objective. You can see it's very short. It's very to the focus. Then my employment history, company, date, title, and just quick bullet points about what I do. Typically, people know what a data analyst does, but I was able to identify it's Informatica, that I onboard new team members. I'm the person they come to ask questions. I resolve process issues across the project, which is setting me up for doing more than just business analysis. I'm going to get back into product owner and program manager. So I also put in keywords here like 810 data, which is nuclear regulations. Of course, user acceptance testing and UAT, but what if they do a search for UAT and not user acceptance testing? So you have to think about that as you're writing your resume. We are past time, ladies and gentlemen. Do y'all have any questions?
No, thank you, Thea. This was fabulous.
Hey, today was phenomenal. Really good points to make. Thank you.
Yes, it was
You're
great.
welcome. You were quite welcome. If anybody wants me to help them with their resume, wants me to introduce them to somebody in my network or whatever, just connect with me through LinkedIn. I keep everything in LinkedIn because recruiters are blasting my email. Okay.
Thank you, Thea.
Thank you,
Also, Marlon was planning to present on Chapter 9 of the BABOK today. and we got confused on that. So hopefully he will be able to do it next week. So please
That
tune in.
Okay, so Marlon, chapter 9 of the BABOK next week. You got it. I am so sorry. Perhaps I made a mistake in getting confused. Either way, I appreciate you volunteering and I look forward to next week. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything. Let me know if I can do anything to help, okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Marlon, sorry, man.
It's okay, Bob.
Marlon,
I mean,
I'm so sorry.
it's okay, Thea. And your presentation was super good. It means I need to take LinkedIn more seriously, and I need to make use of you as a resource. And I'm looking forward to that. And it's okay because I mean I'm prepared. So next week is fine. Let's make it happen.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Well, I've got to figure out how to download the attendee poll, the attendee list here, and then we will sign off.
Won't it throw off something else you guys have planned for next week? What was the plan?
I'm sorry, say that again?
I thought you had a plan for next week. So know that if you're moving me forward, what does that mean for the person that you had planned for?
Nobody had volunteered for next week, so you doing it next week is perfect.
Okay, no problem. All right, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye.